All right, so let's get started. Quick shout out to our partners at Collectible. When they said they're going to plan an event in Vegas, I said, say no more. I will be there. Because what's amazing about Vegas is there's a Vegas for everybody, right? There's the pool bars, there's the gambling, there's amazing like amenities and spas and all that stuff. They have great food, restaurant. So I said say no more. But then they started telling.
I'm still working out my deal with them. I mean, I'm still
right?
working out. Yeah, forget about it, man. I mean, like, I am holding out for Cirque du Soleil tickets. And if that does not come my way, I am not going. So it was easy to get you. I would go to whatever Cirque du Soleil show they got there. I mean, I'll take Wayne Newton. You know, I'm old. You know, I don't need much. Blue Man Group, maybe. I'm sure there's a version of them there. You know,
I like that. That one's a really good show.
See, there we go.
Another amazing introduction derailed, but I will get right back on course.
This is how I roll.
Then they started telling me, you know, guys, Dana White's going to be there. Josh Luber is going to be there. You know, we're going to have people from the hobby and from the business world. And my guest today is someone that for the last 20 years has spanned both, right? He's been a businessman. He is a businessman. And he loves cards. He loves collecting. He loves the space. So I'm super excited for the show. If you guys don't know, it's the Mint Collective. January 20th is the date. I think 19th or 20th or 21st. You guys could check. But Mint Collective, it's going to be an awesome show in Vegas. Grab your tickets. We're going to be there. We're going to be putting on events, having fun. And then we wanted to do an education series, right? Content is king. We want to educate. We want to share candid conversations so that the hobby could make their decisions, right? And they gave us a topic called Innovators series. They said, you know, go reach out to businessmen that you think are changing the game for the better. And I thought of nobody better than this man here. You know, we have East Coast card shops, and we're going to have somebody on from the East Coast. And we have West Coast card shops, kind of like I don't know why I think about it like this. I used to love 90s rap, you know, a little Biggie versus Tupac, right? I used to love that rivalry. So we're going to have Mr. Dan Fleyshman, Coffee Breakers, one of the most beautiful LCSs is it right in LA? Is that right?
Put in Salt Lake City.
LA and Salt Lake City. So someone's changing the game. We're going to have a candid conversation. We're just going to talk, learn about your history, learn about what you think the hobby's going. So without further ado, Mr. Fleyshman, Dan, welcome to the Innovator Series brought to you by Collectible.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to open an East Coast store. I'm literally doing a call with a realtor in 2 hours to try to get my first East Coast store. So I'm coming to East Coast also.
Is that right? It's different out here.
Yes. That's okay. I like it.
We have seasons. Yeah. We have these 4 seasons that kind of suck.
And we have attitude.
Whereabouts? Or if you don't mind sharing. I know it's still early on, so you don't have to share.
No, it's fine. I don't mind. So I'm going to Tampa as one of my first locations and New Jersey. So I'm hoping for 3rd for San Diego, 4th for Tampa, 5th for New Jersey is kind of my roadmap for the next 3 to 5 months. But ultimately, we'll be a true national chain store next year. We'll end up with between 5 and 10 stores for next year, just depending on how leases and lawyers take time. But outside of that, we're ready to execute. I've been training a lot of our team. Mo's been training a lot of our team at the LA store to then ship off to go work with teams in different cities to live there for 4 to 8 weeks at a time to get them all acclimated with our processes. It's been working well for the Salt Lake store, and so now we're going to replicate that in different cities. But my goal is to have all the obvious cities, or Dallas, Phoenix, Las Vegas, all the obvious cities I want to go to. But first is San Diego, Tampa, and New Jersey.
So Dan, I'm a fat guy, so my brain goes right here, and then we're going to talk about your cards, right? So I love pizza. You know, I'm a Northeasterner. You know, we love our pizza, and you know, I would much rather go to a local, you know, mom and pop pizza place. They're going to take care. They're going to put the spices in. They're going to go farm to table, you know, rather than go to like a Papa John's or go to, you know, some franchise and stuff like that. How are you going to maintain the quality, that farm to table freshness of the shop when you franchise it out?
Yep. So fun story. I'm obsessed with pizza. I threw the world's largest pizza my birthday. Yes. I'm obsessed with pizza. I've done that twice now, and I'm going to keep doing that because I think it's just so much fun. Pizza's awesome. So the way I'm doing is these are all owned.
Oh, okay, great.
Yep. So I will have partners in the city, though. because I need local, right?
Of course.
I need someone that's lived there for 10, 20, 30 years or more, that knows the market, they know the people, their friends. Hey, Johnny, good, they know everyone in town. That's important. So I'm not coming in like sending in the Hollywood crew to go run it. That's not how I'm doing it. I'm finding a manager that lives in the local area, and I'm hiring all local staff. I'm just sending 1 to 2 guys to come in to train with them, but it's all locals running the stores. And there's some cities I'm actually trying to buy 51 to 100% of existing stores to rebrand, keep the management, keep all the operators, keep the local guys, just revolutionize them, right? Take them from being 26 years there, getting them online, getting live breaking, adding them on eBay and auction sites and all the different platforms to make them cool, improve their SEO, help them with paid media, help them get more customers, do trade nights, like all the things that need to happen on the checklist that most of the time, most of these store owners are just not going to do because they've been set in their ways for the last couple of decades.
I got a suggestion.
Yeah.
You got to go out every once in a while with your team you're sending. Bring a camera crew with you, and you're gonna take the what is it, John Tapper role? Is that the guys you're gonna do like bar rescue? You do shop rescue. Yes. It is gonna be picked up by Netflix. You get in there. Oh, what is this? You have no point of sale. What's going on? It's gonna be great.
It's actually a phenomenal idea. I love that show, and I love John Tapper.
Yeah.
Yes. That's it. I can see Dan doing it now. What do you mean? Where's the wax? There's no wax. What is it?
So I've gone to at least 45 stores now. I go buy from them all, right?
Yep.
Inventory wise, there's no secret. It's really hard to get allocation, and no matter how much I get, we're selling through it. We do 300,000 a week in wax sales. So there's no amount of allocation they're going to give me that I can't move. And so I run through it. It's a constant struggle, constant problem for most breakers. It's a big problem. On the local store owner side, a lot of them are scared to buy that much wax because they're not selling online. And so they go through waves. They sell certain products really, really well. So what I've done is I've gone for the last couple of years and literally bought from my competitors. I don't call them competitors. To me, there's a big market. What I sell in LA is not going to impact what someone sells even 30 minutes away in LA. Like me and Burbank Sports Cars, I'm 6 Burbank. I love them. Right. They're the biggest car store on the planet. Like I go to my local guys and I go buy from them. But every time I go to a different city, I also go find all the stores within an hour. And I just show up and I'm buying 20 to 100K, 50K, 10K, 20K. Let me just buy from them and learn from them and watch what is it that they're selling. Why don't they have graded cards? Why don't they have wax? Why do they have so much wax and no, like seeing what they're doing? And I can tell you a lot of them literally don't have point of sale. Like they don't have a credit card reading machine. They don't have PayPal. They don't have any way to accept currency besides cash or an old school machine from 1998. And so it's fascinating to watch, and my goal is not to hurt them. My goal is to show them what can be done, and that's why I call it building in public, right? The reason I'm posting our sales from each different department, why I'm posting every aspect and detail of our store, why I'm openly talking about how you can fix a local car shop. I want them all to win. I want all of them to do better because I love the hobby deep in my soul, and nothing they do would hurt our sales. And I think I can only help them by bringing in all these characters into the game, Rob G and Steve Aoki and all these different guys. I'm trying to get everybody to jump into the sports card market because I think all of us getting more eyeballs on the sports cards lifts the whole market up.
It reminds me of, I grew up in the cafe business. It reminds me of Starbucks in the 90s, right? People thought Starbucks was going to crush family businesses and local cafes. People started drinking more coffee than ever because of them, right? It was kind of this weird phenomenon.
Yeah, and then they go to the local cafe to hang out for hours and work on their laptop for hours. It's hard to do that at Starbucks. It's fun you think that you do it at Starbucks. They're too busy. You can't focus.
They created the culture to go do that.
Exactly.
My dad would always say, Andrew, this business, it looks so easy, but when you get into it, you'll learn it's not so easy. What are, so you've been in coffee breakers. You guys started about a year ago, a year and change, I believe.
Yep.
A year and change. And you go to all these LCSs. What are some things, what are your takeaways? What are some things you learned? What are you like, I can't believe this exists?
Sure. The allocation part is the biggest struggle that we just can't buy product. You get one case here, 2 cases here, on a boxes. The distributors, the same thing. You can't, whether you're buying direct from the major corporations or from the distributors, they're limited too. So that's a constant struggle that I didn't expect. Like I thought I could go buy as much inventory as needed. It is definitely not the case. Even on old stuff, let alone the new stuff, but on the old stuff, nothing. It's not easy to buy whacked. And so I always say, like, if some VC venture capital guy shows up with $40 million, good luck. Nothing's going to change. There's nothing he can do that everyone else in the market hasn't tried to do buying. And so they can't just show up with money. You're not going to bribe them. You're not going to overpay them. They don't care. They literally have it all limited. So that has been an interesting aspect of, like, from a business scaling perspective. You know, we hit 15 million sales our first year. We're going to do 18 million in 2022. And we would have done, I don't know, 50 to 100% more, having more product. But we literally just physically can't get enough. So that's one interesting aspect to this. From the slab side, obviously, we came into the market October 1st, 2021. PSA was at their peak. Everything was great. Literally a couple months later is when nobody could get graded cards. That part is tough. Not being able to get back graded cards from PSA after submitting thousands and thousands and thousands. They're catching up now, which is great. But from a local card store, the people that submitted to us are mad at us, not PSA. And so the customer service aspect of that, you know, we hired multiple people just to deal with the people that were upset about waiting such a long period of time because they paid for 20 days or they paid for something, and now it's been 9 months or 10 months or 11 months.
Yeah.
So understanding that aspect of it, where, you know, PSA is the granddaddy when it comes to grading, and I love the brand and the concept of it. Now they're finally starting to catch up, and I look forward to seeing what they do at scale. So that is one interesting part. The partnerships, that part is critical. The reason that we're doing well is we have partnerships with all of the major corporations. So I try to be Switzerland. We're friends with everybody in the space. I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm here to get everybody together and make the whole industry more famous. So we have Star Stock Mondays and Whatnot Wednesdays and Loop on Saturdays and Fanatic Fridays. Like, I'm doing as many joint venture partnerships.
Yeah.
We did the biggest break in history with StockX and PSA, where we opened up 4,800 packs in one day. Right? Very hard to explain how that's even physically possible.
It's like Jerry Lewis over here. It's amazing. He did like a packathon. It's great.
Exactly.
I love it.
And then from the local card stores, dealing with, you know, we're in LA, one of the most shut down markets as far as like rules and just, you know, being on Hollywood Boulevard, you'd think since we're in the top 10 busiest street on the planet, we'd have a lot of foot traffic. We don't, because the travel tourism is not there. So this whole year, I haven't experienced the people from Australia or Asia or Moscow, or they're not there. They don't exist. It's a ghost town. I have homeless people outside, and I have some people walking by, but we don't get the local. So you are a destination. And I think a lot of the stores have already proven that you don't need a ton of foot traffic because people search for you and come to find you. And so
The
we're now.
homeless is okay. That's why they make Chronicles.
Yeah.
To the homeless people.
There's.
Can I ask real quick before about we'll talk future, but I want to talk two legacy things: distribution and grading. Do you see a world where one, distribution is necessary? I'll stop there and we'll get the grading. But like, do you see a world where distribution is necessary? And two, does distribution change in the future?
So distribution will always be necessary because they are the only way for most people to get access. So let's say you guys wanted to open up a card shop this week, right? Panini's not going to Upper Deck, Fleer, Prism, nobody's going to just hand you big allocations. It's just not going to happen. Even if you showed up with a bag of cash or a big wire or a Bitcoin or whatever you think's going to happen, none of that's going to happen. They're not going to give you enough. And so you need the distributors to be able to actually get a lot of the product. Or you get an allocation, God bless you, got the allocation, right? You had a friend of a friend, somehow you got the allocation, God bless you. You're still not going to get a big allocation. So you have to have the distributors, because you want to buy that box or that pack or that case. You want to have to buy 10, 20, 30, 40 of them, not one or two, which is a normal allocation. So the distributors are not going away no matter what these big brands that are coming in and thinking that's going to change. It's not going to change. Let me just be really blunt. It's not going to change. That's like thinking that, anyway, I don't want to use it.
Well, with the internet, there's the theory that the middle gets squeezed, right? Unless you add value. Does distribution add value? Because, well, I'll leave it there. Does it add value to the marketplace? Does it make the community better? Or does it benefit, the old businesses that have handshake deals with the distributors, and the new businesses coming in kind of struggle getting allocation, as you said.
Yeah, the benefit is the access, because there's a barrier to entry of you becoming an approved vendor with the large corporations. There's only half a dozen real big brands in this space, and so becoming an approved vendor for them is not easy. It takes time. Getting any actual allocation from them is difficult, no matter how much money you have. And most people that are opening local car stores are not coming in like, oh, I'm going to buy millions of dollars tonight, right? And so the distributor's part is always going to be there, regardless of how whatever changes happen in 3 to 5 years with the new deals with Fanatics. There will always be distributors, no matter what. Nobody can stop distributors because they just are still buying the way anybody would buy, and then reselling it. Their margins are not that big, right? The margins aren't that big. My margins aren't that big. Like we run up with 20 to 40% margins. So it's not like I'm out there doubling, tripling. Like, oh, I can't believe you're selling this for $800. I bought it for $660, and I pay 9% state sales tax. So my 20% margin is 10 or 11%. So people are always like, you're overcharging. I'm literally buying for $660, selling for $800 because I'm making my 10%. And by the way, I'm bonusing my staff, paying for my overhead. My 20% is not true 20%. And the times I can make 30 or 40%, sometimes that's just to help make up for the times I'm breaking even or sometimes losing money just to make customers happy, because I do giveaways every day, promotions, whatever. And so there will always be distributors in this market. And a lot of those guys are going to get hurt or squeezed, and it might change if Fanatics comes in and makes it easier to buy direct. But even if they do that, I think they're still going to limit it, because the only way for prices to have that to stay strong is the limited quantities. And so you're seeing it now. There's drops that happen every day that you can only buy 2 boxes per household. What is 2 boxes? Like we just saw with the what was it, Looney Tunes, or the one with not Looney Tunes, the other animation. Anyways, came out a few days ago. 2 boxes per household. It's $25 to $50 a box. So as a store owner, what does that matter? All right, I need to buy cases. I want to buy 2 cases, 10 cases, 20 cases of it. So what did I do? The second that happened, I went and called the distributors and said, hey guys, whatever cases you have, I'll take them right now, because people are hunting for LeBron James. There's one of like 245,000 that's in those boxes. It's really hard to get
stuff, right?
Yeah. Beef Stew is hunting for LeBron James as well right now. So get in line.
And so whether it's Aoki with MetaZoo, those sell out super quickly. I have to then go to, even my close friend that's an equity owner in my business, I still have to go to distributors and buy from the websites. There's just not, even the guys that own their own stuff, like you see drops with DJ Ski and Tops, like he literally owns equity in my company. I can't go get boxes or cases from him, just to be blunt. Like that's how hard it is to get boxes and cases in this game. And so distributors will always be around.
Cage, I'm curious. I'll open it up for you. You've been going to your LCS 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you came in and you were bar rescue. You kind of have a John Taffer vibe to you.
Oh my God, my guy's the best.
Big and bolsterous.
But he's exactly what Dan described. He has an old credit card machine, like one of these kind of like things with like a carbon
with a terminal,
or he's got like a terminal on the walls that sometimes works. He's got 3 showcases that have the same exact cards in them that he's had for as long as I've been going there. The shelves are falling and the cards are like sliding off of them. It really is a perfect like LCS rescue episode. He's got old boxes. His shelf space for wax is like National Treasures boxes. You walk in, you're like, oh, that's a National Treasures box from 2009. It's like, Steph? And no, those are for show. They're empty. I mean, those were opened here 10 years ago, and I'm like, dude, like what are any of these boxes? No, they're all for sure. They're all just empty boxes. And he's the nicest guy in the world. And a couple years ago, before everything got crazy, I was helping him. Like Dan, I was taking his allocation on certain things. He couldn't sell soccer. Right. I mean, I remember taking Bundesliga, the Holland year, at $150 a box. And the best part was I wasn't even a big soccer guy, so Andrew will tell you this. The IG group we were in, I sold them to people in our group without making any money. $150 a box. What are those
Yeah,
things?
you passed that
Thousands of
allocation
dollars
on.
in a box. I mean, just because he couldn't, he showed me the, hey, Topps has new rules now. I need to buy wrestling case. I need to buy this case. And I'm like, all right, whatever will keep you in the good graces and favor of the Lord, like they say in Gangs of New York, right? Whatever will do that, I will buy. That way you keep getting me. If it means I get a Topps Chrome box here or there from you because you're staying in their good graces, let's go. And even he, who's been around for 2-3 decades, you're talking about like been around forever, hole in the wall little shop. He doesn't get any Panini basketball allocated to him. He gets every once in a while. Like he'll be like, hey, I got a Chronicles for you if you want. Or even football. It's like one box of Prism he can get from a distributor. And I'm like, Doc, what am I supposed to do with this? And like playoff. He'll get me a playoff case, maybe. One of those kind of things. So yeah, man. I mean, what would I fix? Is that the question? Everything.
Is it more of an experience for kids that you would create, right? Like, I miss like Jillian's and Dave & Buster's was like kind of like an arcade game. I would see if it's possible to kind of blend that, right? Like you want kids to want to spend hours in your LCS, not come in and grab the packs and go and rip it home.
Yep.
Is that fair to say? Like, is that kind of
even so? Kids love cards, right? So even a store like that, my son wants to go to it. He's got a little, double bubble. Bubble gum, and it'll okay, take a piece of bubble gum, and the cards, the companies make it easy. Panini has free packs, Father's Day packs. Topps has baseball day packs, and they give the LCSs a ton of these. So he's very generous. If you buy a box, you get this pack. You buy a box, you get a couple of these packs. So the kids love it. But yeah, it has like a 5-minute window before it gets like. My kid might catch something in this place. It's it's a little dingy, and but there's no experience to it at all, right? So yeah, I mean that would be really cool, man. A place to open. What we do? We come home and we open the box on Friday and we go live with it.
Right.
I did that once in his store, and the second person who came on said, "Tell that guy to get a vacuum." I felt so bad. So,
I'm curious. Yeah. So I know your destination, right? Place. What percentage of your buyers are kids?
Oh, a lot. I mean, the parents are coming with them, and they're coming back multiple times, so it's great. But it's a lot. It's a big deal. There's people. So there's different tiers of people that are coming by, right? There's guys that are coming over with their cards to sell to us, and that can be 2 minutes, or that could be 2 hours, depending on how many cards they have, or if we actually want what they're selling. For the most part, a lot of them we're sending over to Burbank, because Burbank they're like a vacuum. They'll take everything. If they have 43 million cards there, it's simply amazing.
It's amazing. And it's important for the market. Liquidity is really important for the market. Letting people cash out so they could get into something else is way more important for hobby success than people realize, in my opinion.
So then we have people that are buying gifts. That comes in a lot. That's the wife buying for the father, son, brother, dad, the friend buying for the friend. There's a lot of that happening. And then there's the guys that are just in the hobby, or that are wanting to come see it because they've heard about it, they've seen it online, they want to come see it in person. And then mostly I'd say that it's about over half the people that come by are the parents of the kids.
Grading? Should there be one grading company? Is AI grading, how is that real? What does AI really mean? What do you think about the whole grading scene for the hobby?
Yeah, so there's 17 grading companies now and growing. The hard part for all the new grading companies is that PSA is the Nike of the space. And is there an Adidas and Reebok? Yeah, we have BGS, we have SGC that are like good brands, been around for a long time. Some people love them, some people hate them, some people like the look. Regardless, the value is in Nike, right? You put a PSA card next to an SGC card, it's not close on the price point. It's not a little difference, it's not close. And so from a brand value part, nobody's going to come in and out-brand PSA, because PSA is owned by Nat Turner, who has infinite capital. He's a real business guy that knows how to scale this business. And now that they've acquired other companies in the space like Golden Auctions, and they're probably going to acquire more, they are going to be the 800-pound gorilla in the space, and it's not close. Okay, let's just be clear. So from a value perspective, PSA is that, and they will catch up. They will figure this out. Again, obviously, Nat has built multiple businesses and had some multi-billion-dollar exits. He's going to figure it out. I can guarantee that deep in my soul. Now, the new grading companies have innovation, right? There are new companies coming out. If any of them ever poke the bear and get big enough at all, Nat's going to buy them, right? He's either going to crush them or buy them. And that's just the way the markets work. And I can see that happening where somebody does finally figure out.
Should grading companies give back more to the hobby though? Like, as they're doing all this, as they're getting fees and all that stuff.
I just want them to give my cards back.
Right.
I think that's a good start, but
I'll take it.
But like, they are the 100-pound gorilla in the room that has food for the next 25 years if they don't even go and hunt again. Maybe, giving out, 100 free grading submissions if you go visit a local LCS, right? Finding these strategic partnerships to give life to businesses that have struggled over the last year when they've done well.
Yeah.
Is that fair to ask for?
Yeah, so we're for PSA drop off, which does help because now we do get traffic from their website that comes to our store to drop off for grading. More stores should do that and can do that, and it's important to do it. Any store owner listening, try to get PSA to be an official drop off for you because you're now listed on their website. So anybody searching, you're going to come up. That's really important. Should they do giveaways? Yes, they do promos. Like at National, for the whole 4 days, it was StockX PSA with Copy Breakers breaking. And so they paid for everything. PSA was doing grading on the spot for any of the big hits. StockX and their team was working with our team the whole time for those whole 4 days. And PSA was spending money, spending time, spending energy to do that. So I think that it is in them to want to be a part of the hobby. And I think as they keep hiring more and more people, I could see them doing a lot more in the space from that side. The only hard part is when you do freebies, it can, once you give something once, then people want it all the time. And so that part is tough. I can see them doing big promos, right? During the National makes perfect sense. Doing partnerships with certain publications or certain media outlets or certain golden auctions or any of those type of things, it makes sense for them to do. Steve Aoki, they've done promos with Aoki. It does make sense to do promos with some of the characters and the media outlets in the space. But it would be tough to just start handing out giveaways because then people wait around for that.
Very smart.
He
wants freebies. Andrew is of the belief that grading companies are not really grading companies. They are market makers.
Yeah.
They are population control, and they are ones that are basically the gatekeeper of the hobby. And, for lack of a better way of saying it, it's because PSA does have so much running through it. And now with its ties to Golden and almost everybody else, I send the card to PSA, I'm going to get back an 8, 9, or a 10. Or recently 5. A lot of 5s. Thanks, guys. It is what it is. I guess I went blind in the last year. But I say I'm getting graded cards back. Andrew says PSA is not grading your cards. PSA is creating a market for your cards by grading a certain way, and then what comes with that, with great
specifically,
power.
Guys, just real quick. I apologize, Case.
No, good.
Specifically for modern and ultra modern, for like some of like the base prism and the silver prism. When it comes to vintage cards, that's a whole different game. That is grade specific. But like, what's the difference between a Zion Prism PSA 9 base and a Zion Prism PSA 10 base?
Well, Dan would know. He's probably seen 1,000 of them.
A microscopic, tiny difference.
Yeah. So the hard part in that theory, in the conspiracy theory, is it's really difficult. Just seeing what it looks like in the back of house and how the structure is. The graders are not interacting when it comes to who's grading. They have specialists, right? People are better at vintage. People know more about modern. You have to understand the ages, years, and markets and sports of what you're grading. But there's also secondary graders and then like the main graders. So there's levels to like a card. One guy is not gonna be like, I'm gonna grade this and then slide it over here. There's no sliding. Right, this is like being in a medical lab, secure facility with like cameras everywhere. It is intense. So, from the conspiracy theory aspect of it, it's hard for that part. Just to give you the real world. Similar when people think like, oh, well, this guy's a friend of PSA, he's going to get better grades. Let me be real blunt with you. I know the executives, the investors, the friends, the bazillionaires, the billionaires, and they cry to me about their cards when they get a 7, an 8. They are not getting 10s left and right. They are not getting any special treatment. Let me be really blunt.
Of course.
Watched
I don't
it.
think Andrew's saying conspiracy theory.
Mind if I just quickly? So what I've noticed is we want to use the Prism base cards, and I'll include silver and base, as kind of stocks that we trade for a player, right? So those cards being graded PSA 10s or 9s, to me are a little bit pointless, right? What I've seen is, and I was going to ask you this actually, Cage, and Dan, was the Panini Prism release on digital, right? So this year Panini went a different route and they released Prism NBA on their digital platform, Panini Direct, before they released the physical version, right? And every one of those cards, if you guys have opened packs, are numbered, right? They're out of 2,000, out of 750, out of 149, out of 500. So you already have scarcity baked in, right? You have cap supply, and then you only have to solve for demand. So where it comes to grading companies, I just suggest, or not suggest, I'm not sure really exactly how to word it, is for those base cards, those Zion Prism PSAs and PSA 10s and Luka Prism PSA, maybe a better experience is to have the digital version of those cards. And grading companies are there for, unique cards, one of ones, that kind of stuff. I don't know if I did a good job explaining it, but that's how I see a little bit of a segment kind of split, for lack of a better word.
The thing is, like, when we talk about NFTs, when we talk about digital cards, when we talk about cryptocurrency, only a few % of the planet has any of those things. It's tiny. People are like, oh, there's millions of people with MetaMask wallets. Millions sounds like a lot, doesn't it? There's 7.6 billion humans. So when they're like, oh my God, there's 10 billion new wallets. 10 million sounds like a lot until you realize that's 1/1000th of how many people live in the planet. So we are nowhere near the digital space yet, digital world. There's a lot of people freaking out about NBA Top Shot this and NFT that and that. We're literally nobody has wallets. When I say nobody, if you look at a pie chart, the pie would be this tiny little sliver. That's how many people have a Coinbase wallet or a MetaMask wallet or NBA Top Shot. It's tiny. It's minuscule. It's tens of millions of people. Tens of millions sounds like a lot until you realize we've got almost 400 million humans just in America.
I tell Andrew that all the time when he tells me I'm 1 in a million. I told him that means there's 1,000 cages in China. I mean, you got to do the math.
Yeah. And so from the user experience, just most people literally just won't carry it around the cart. They want to physically have a card. We just want it. Same way people are buying art, and with NFTs, I can guarantee you there's always going to be hundreds of millions more people that have physical art than NFT art, because NFT art being on your phone sounds cool, but when I walk into a hotel room in Las Vegas, there's 10 pieces on the wall of physical art. Multiply that out over the course of millions of hotels, millions of households, tens of millions of households, etc. Physical art will always be bigger. Physical cards will always be bigger.
Yeah, but what's going to happen with those 20,000 Zion PSA 10s?
That's it.
That's a lot of cards.
Absolutely. One thing I will say that people are not taking into account, a lot of the people that have those PSA 10 Zions have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 of them. And so the math is not 20,000 individuals with a PSA 10. My friends have hundreds of them, and those friends have hundreds of them, and those friends have hundreds of them. So out of 20,000, it's not 20,000 individual sports card people with one PSA 10 Zion, because I've got hundreds of each. And other stores have dozens of each and hundreds of each. And group chats of friends have hundreds and hundreds of each, and they're not selling them. So the market liquidity is not, oh, there's 20,000 PSA 10s making it rain all over the town. That would drop the market instantly, obviously. There's a lot of people that have a lot of, you go to the card shows, go to a booth at the Dallas card show or any of these card shows, and you're going to see these guys with a little booth still have 64 PSA 10 Zions and 26 Lukas. So the math, by the way, it is a lot. There shouldn't be 20,000, 30,000 PSA 10s, but I just want to be clear, it's not 20, 30,000 uniques collectors up there.
Right. Here's my frustration, Cage. You know me well, so you might be able to word this better than I. But and this is one of the things that I think the hobby teaches. Right? Like the hobby and sports cards are such a great tool to teach economics and supply and demand. And all this stuff. That's why a lot of business people, successful business people, their first thing they say, Andy Frisella, someone I look up to a lot, he attributes trading baseball cards when he was young to a lot of the success he has now. Gary Vee, collecting baseball cards taught him a lot. It makes it really hard for an investor where they have to solve for demand and supply. So like you can be right with, let's say, Tyler Hero, right? You're like, I know this guy's undervalued, underrated. I'm going to buy a lot of his cards and send him in to get graded. But you're right on him because he does perform really well. But you also get screwed because your cards get stuck at PSA and the supply goes up dramatically over that period of time. So it kind of makes it really hard on the investor, whereas the grading company, they win. Cage, am I wrong?
No, you have now explained the phase of the hobby that we are currently in.
But it
used to be right on Tyler Hero meant that's a guy I liked, that's a guy I wanted to watch, so I want to own his physical card. Now it's investors, to use your word, want to invest in Tyler Hero, and they have to solve for supply and demand. So I may call the right guy, I may be Tyler Hero's the right guy, but because there's so much of it out there, which I have no control over, I could be right on someone's skill set, but the investment won't go up. That's a new phenomenon in the hobby. And you're right, maybe part of that shifts into investor into liquidity, a star stock model with the raw cards where people are trading, all the time, or a digital type of card for quote investors who want to have a stock for a player rather than a physical piece of cardboard. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing that you're discussing. The problem, the disconnect, I think, is we have to remember, while it's big business centered around cardboard pictures of people we're supposed to be fans of. It's a childhood hobby that's now become big business, and in your analysis, big investment. So I get what you're saying. I do. I mean, Dan, you have any thought on this, right? I mean, you obviously see investors, you see collectors, you got kids, you got adults. You see big money, small money.
And say what you want real quick. Investors are valuable to the market because then they get it. They sell those cards, and now they go and buy an MJ PSA 9 or a Topps Chrome LeBron. So that's important. They redeploy that. I'm curious if you have an opinion on it, Dan.
So in every game, in every industry, there's the supply and demand part is what you're solving for. Right. The reason I have never done NBA Top Shot is because I looked at supply and demand. LeBron's going to have 16 dunks today, 24 dunks tomorrow, 12 dunks the next day, 8 dunks the next day. Who's going to care about his dunk on March 14th on a Wednesday, right? When he's got 600 dunks since then. And so I never invested in NBA Top Shot, and then we've watched it go through its roller coasters. I believe in supply and demand. In the card market, when things happen, you have to adjust to it. We can't cry about it. We can't, there's nothing that's going to change. It happened, and it's going to continue to happen because it is a business for the manufacturer. It is a business for the athlete. It is a business for the team owners. It is a business for the licensees. And it is a business for the local card store owner, the collector, and the investor. Everybody in eBay, StockX, Golden Auctions, and everybody in PSA, there are people getting a piece of every version of that one Tyler Hero card that you're talking about.
That's right. And you know who pays all those bills? The fans, right? That little bottom layer that we have to take care of, right? Because if that little bottom layer, and I'm quoting Cage, it's almost making me sick. You have gotten into my brain. But if you don't take care of that bottom layer, that fan, that traditional fan, and they can't color up and take their Tyler Heroes to get, a silver Luka, to get a LeBron rookie, to get a Jordan Fleer, doesn't it all fall down on itself?
No, because there's something that we're all missing here.
Yes.
20,000 sounds like a huge amount. What if we bring in 2 million new collectors this year? Is 20,000 a lot, or is it tiny? What if we bring in 10 million or 20 million? What if the Netflix show that Golden does becomes top 10 show, and all of a sudden 25 million new collectors come into space, and now I can't believe there's only 20,000 Tyler Heroes. How could there only be 20,000 Tyler Heroes?
Well, Dan, I'm thankful for you in what you're doing to bring people into the space. Yeah. Because I'll tell you, Andrew, what you're saying, it's right and it's wrong. And I know it's my own little, hey, take care of the guy and forget about the investor, and it's the hobby and it's people have to make money. So, Dan, I don't know how old you are. It doesn't make a difference. But I collected in the 90s. I don't know if you did or not. But in New Jersey, in Parsippany, There was a huge show every week, Tuesday night show, right? It was the show. Any dealer in the tri-state area was there Tuesday night. People would drive out. I would go from Staten Island. I'd drive over there, almost an hour ride. And, in the 90s, Shaq, Jordan cards, mid-90s, Chrome, you name it. But I'm going to tell you something. In like 98, 99, those years, there was no real innovation in the space, and the draft classes sort of sucked, right? And people, I will tell you what happened, because people weren't making money. There was no money being made in the cards, right? It wasn't this big business. There was a time, 92, 93, Shaq rookie, Weber and Penny after that, where cards had their come up. I mean, I could tell you, just like now, people investing in F1 and these other, ancillary brands, because of the big money in the other sports. Same thing. Like, I knew in 1992 Upper Deck that I was looking for Timu Solani rookie cards. I've never watched a hockey game, my life at the time, but I knew who to look for because cards blew up, right? But then they died down. You know what happened at that Parsippany show Tuesday nights? The guys who were selling cards, right? The big dealers who they were there with wax. They had Shaqs and Jordans up the wazoo. In 1998, 1999, that show started to become a Beanie Baby show. And I shit you not. You walked in and the tables were full of plastic bags, full of purple dogs and orange, whatever the hell they were, because these guys, these dealers, were not finding that alpha in the cards. They were going to Hallmarks and Noodle Cadoodles and wherever the hell else it was, and they were buying their allocations of Beanie Babies and selling them to people at the Tuesday. Cards, they gave...
The dealers need to make money, right? Like, they need to make money. They need to pay the bills. You said, I'll bring you back. What if we bring in 1 million, 2 million people? Do you have a message or an ask of content creators in the hobby of how we can do that? How can we get more people to want to join?
Yep. So information, education, and co-marketing it with mainstream. So what that means is, on the education information, it's so important because when I explain to someone that Gary and I were buying LeBrons for $1,000 and now they're worth $15,000, that education for investors, like, holy shit, you paid $1K, $2K, $3K for a card and now it's up to $15,000. I now have brought in so many investors into the game because they look at the math of, like, hey, if I buy LeBron, that's like having what I keep teaching about is an alternative asset. I believe sports cards are an alternative asset if you focus on the low supply, high demand cards, because Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, nothing can change. They are going down in history forever, right, as the best of the best of the best. And so education is important from the investor side. From the casual side, it's showcasing to moms, dads, friends, companies why they should buy it as gifts. If you can get people to buy it as gifts, that's a big deal because that's getting people back into the game or tasting it for the first time, right? Getting the masses to come in and looking at it as gifts. I'm hoping my whole marketing goal, I'm literally spending 6 figures from starting Thanksgiving, literally on Monday, through the holidays, focusing on marketing the fact that sports cards should be the number one holiday gift of this 2021.
I agree.
This is the difference, by the way, between that and now. The internet, go ahead, please.
Just for that. I hired 3 different
That's amazing.
Just to spend money to market the fact that sports cards should be the number one holiday season. There's lots of companies doing that for all different industries. I want it for this one. Does it mean that people are going to buy it from me? Absolutely not. But I'm marketing just the messaging the same way that
1,000%.
people buy flowers on Valentine's Day. I want people to buy chocolates and flowers the same way that they buy for us.
You said it a couple times in different ways, Dan, but I mean, it rings true, and it's why you're a great ambassador for this. Everything you're talking about here is about growing the pie. It's not necessarily like growing your wallet.
Well,
because I think you
understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think you understand your wallet will grow if the overall pie grows, as well. And there's enough here for everybody to kind of sit down and eat, right? So I love that. I love the marketing will benefit other people as well.
My whole goal since before I even had a store was to bring interesting characters into the space because I just love the space. I had no dog in the fight. When I was first bringing in all these interesting characters to start buying sports cards, they didn't have a single dollar in cards. Rob G, Steve Aoki, Lewis Howes, podcasters, business guys, cannabis guys, they didn't have a single dollar in cards since back when they were kids. Just like I didn't. Gary Vee got me back in. I used to collect when I was 4 years old, 8 years old, 13 years old, etc. Magic the Gathering, baseball cards, etc. But there's a huge gap, just like a lot of people's stories, where I didn't have cards until Gary got me back in a couple of years ago at the National. And so why am I bringing those people in? I didn't have a store then. I didn't have a breaking channel. I just loved the game. I loved the industry. I loved the hobby. And then from there, they take it where they want to go. I didn't expect Rob to go buy $5 million cards. I didn't expect Aoki to go buy millions of dollars of Pokemon, and Logan Paul and all these guys go buy all this crazy. Like, they take it, right? They go off and take it to how they want to, what they like about it.
Right.
Like basketball or football, or they like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering. And so I think it's critical and it's exciting to see when Post Malone loves Magic the Gathering now. That's humongous. I barely have any Magic at the store, so I'm like instantly like, hey guys, buy a bunch of Magic the Gathering, and let's just make sure we give it out to kids as packs. Here, just give them free packs. We give out mystery packs at conventions, conferences. I just want people into the game because there's a butterfly effect that happens, right?
I mean, there's one more thing with the gifting that if I was in college now, I would take this up, and it would be, we all want to network, right? We hear like in college, like your network is your net worth, networking is everything. I think cards are the best form of networking because with social media, you get to see who. I always use Darren Herman for this example for some reason because like getting to Bain Capital or McKinsey is like impossible, right? Like unless you go to Penn, and I guess Nat Turner went to Penn. Unless you go to those big schools, can't tell how I feel about Penn. I'm a Drexel guy, so if you go to these big like these schools and you want to
leave
get
the
into
Quakers alone.
That's right. It's so hard to get an interview. But if you go out and you see, oh, his favorite player is Kemba Walker because he's from Connecticut and he loves UConn, and you get him like a UConn Kemba Walker making a jumper. It might be a $5 card. Now you write a note like saying, hey, Darren, I'm a big fan. Would love 15 minutes of your time. I know you're an awesome big Kemba Walker fan. I think cards are such a great tool for networking too.
It's my excuse to talk to a lot of my friends on a daily basis. I have so many group chats that are just for sports for the last year and a half, 2 years. But how else am I going to talk to Gary Vee and Aoki and all these guys on a daily basis? We're all busy, right? They're both flying around the planet every day. When there's stuff happening in the industry, they're sending in like household name athletes, household name musicians, household name people. I'm talking on a daily basis about sports cards and Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. Like, how am I supposed to be talking and chatting with these household name musicians that some of them I don't even know about freaking Magic and Pokemon and sports cards? Sports cards is my excuse to talk to so many interesting characters all the time. And they've never bought from me. It's not a financial thing. But now I have this emotional connection with them. And then we do fun stuff. Like when we went to his house and had like Josh Luber and Jason Kuntz, and we're all doing a sleepover at Aoki's house and doing live breaks for fun. Like, when am I going to have a sleepover with grown 45-year-old men like, that are the heads of big corporations and big companies like StockX and having a slumber party, right? And opening up packs of cards. This is our excuse to hang out. And so it's fascinating to me. Like I'm able to talk to business guys, children, adults, friends from my past. My DMs every single day are people telling me about, like, as you guys, oh, I had this thing in my garage when I was 30 years, oh, my mom she threw away my cards. Oh, my grandma, this, like I have an excuse to talk to people and for people to reach out to me about sports cards.
Formula One.
Crushing.
We were crushing, right? Like it's really taken America by storm. Like if you guys out there, if you want to get a little bit of a head start, it's coming to Miami in May, and they're influencers, right? Like social media influencers, specifically like those, like the Josh Richards, the Bryce Hall, the Logan Paul, that young demographic. They're very interested in F1, and I could have never seen that coming. First off, F1 cards are selling like hotcakes at the store, I'm assuming. Does it have lasting power, right? We always see those Eiffel Tower charts. People are always worried that they're buying in here, right? Where do you see F1 going? Sure.
So obviously the Netflix special helped a lot, but the attendance proved it. That people actually showed up, right? They had not just record-breaking
3x. I think it was 3 or double or 3 times more.
If you have a 20% increase, that would be humongous. Having 200 or 300% is the Miami one is going to break every record you could ever imagine. It already, like, the numbers are ridiculous for the Miami one. And so much of the Miami one's going to be so content driven because, like you said, every influencer, every celebrity, every athlete wants to go to Miami, and they're going to be making content left and right. There's going to be so many events, parties, things. We're throwing stuff out there. Like, everyone's going to be there. It's like the Super Bowl and being in Miami. So that's going to be a big deal for this. And what's interesting about certain niches, like race cars, when people get in, they don't leave, right? Someone that likes poker when they're 19 years old likes poker when they're 60 years old. It's not a game that you leave. So if you get into F1 or you grew up watching wrestling, you still like wrestling when you watched Hulk Hogan 30 years ago. You still like Hulk Hogan today, right? Your emotion didn't change. You still like, if Hulk Hogan jumped on our Zoom right now, we'd be like, Hulk Hogan, I just have your underwear. You know, like, holy, to watch you. I was sick.
The 24th Pythons, brother. Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, of course, we love Hulk Hogan.
Cage was the one that bought out Andre Giant's jockstrap from Collectible.
Yeah, I wish.
Shout out
No,
our guys.
Cage is the one that had a PSA 10 Ric Flair 1982 Wrestling All Stars, and it was one of 5, and sold it to Gary.
You did. Him and Gary have a love-hate relationship. They've sold each other a lot of cards, and Gary's
Gary has a lot of my
got-
stuff. Cheap.
He's got a lot of his stuff cheap. Luka's at Luka Prisms for like $60.
No. Clay was the big come up. But hey, listen, I love Gary. He's brought more eyeballs to this stuff, and because of that, we've made more money on other deals, and we've been able to basically do the show. The hobby, I mean, if we're allowed to say it, the hobby is growing because of people like Dan and because of people like Gary. Those influencers were brought in by people like Dan. Logan Paul puts a Charizard on his neck because someone brought him in and told him about this, and he's going to be live streaming at the F1 event, and someone's going to make a ton of money on F1 cards because of that. That's a huge part of what's happening in the hobby now.
When you live on Instagram, and sometimes we do a little bit too much, I catch myself, you think it's bigger than it is, but sometimes I get upset at the hobby. And we had the Pac-Man RPS guys, and they said, controversy sells, and I hear them. But sometimes I get upset with the hobby when they attack influencers unjustly. Like, there were posts where I think someone screenshotted Gary tweeting, I'm really excited for National, looking at what cards to buy, like something super innocuous, right? And it was screenshotted, and people in the comments were just taking shots at him. And I was like, and I look alternatively in the crypto world, when Tom Brady puts laser eyes, everybody gets pumped, right? So on one side, I think digital collectibles, you guys know, this is nothing new, are very similar to cards, in my opinion. But we have one space that promotes influencers and celebrities getting in, and this other space is like, get out of here. This is my party. You're too cool to come hang out with me.
It's always been like that in cards, though. It's a tougher nut to crack.
When I walk into these 45 stores that I've been to, people physically grumble about Gary, and I tell them about it. Like, they're physically upset with him because he made it too popular, he made it famous. That changed their financial life. By the way, the person sitting behind the counter, the box he's had for 5 years went from $200 to $2,000. Literally changed his life because he's got 60 of them or 200 of them, and now he's going to make 6 figures, even more than that. Gary did that. It's really clear. Gary did that. Right? He's the reason I'm in. He's the reason Logan's in. He's the reason so many characters are in. He's brought in hundreds of millions of dollars directly, which has led to billions of dollars in transactions. Let's be really clear about it. It's all from him. He brought me in, and I did my thing. And everybody, the butterfly effect went with Aoki, Rob G, and all those different examples that you see all stem from Gary. So he changed the entire card industry single-handedly, brought it in on his back. From the people that are like, oh, he's pumping and dumping, good luck buying a card from Gary V. He's not selling any cards. Guys, I don't know how to be any more clear about it. You could go offer him. Let's say a card's $1,000. You go offer him $1,300. Good luck. He won't even respond to you. His card's worth $10K. You offer him $13, $15. Couldn't care less. He does not sell his cards. Now, at some point, because he's got way too many cards, will he move some of them? The crap, yes. But are you going to get to buy a Pete Maravich from Gary V? Good luck. I don't care if you overpay for it. He doesn't need the money. People keep talking about him pumping and dumping. Does anybody realize how rich Gary Vee is? He has 900 employees. Okay, invested in Facebook, Twitter, Uber. These companies. The guy is going to have hundreds of millions of dollars. Him getting an extra $400 on a Kevin Durant card. Are we serious?
He has
Listen,
14
I love
crypto
it.
punks.
No, listen. My post said he had 40. I don't know how many he has now, but I'm an idiot, right? Because I famously posted Gary's talking about crypto punks and Jay-Z's talking about crypto punks, and look at Gary has 50 of these or 40 of these, and that the street value is $2 million, and I'm like, I wish I could go back to that post and instead of posting that, hit buy. You know what I mean? Like a couple of times, smash that buy button, that like
Smash.
button. Come on now.
If you guys like what we do, smash the like button, smash the
Like the
subscribe
smash button. Like the smash button. So, listen, I mean, I'll let Andrew take it home, but I have one question for you. It might be putting you on the spot a little bit, and if it is, I apologize. But it is an innovator series, and I think you are the embodiment of that innovation because the LCS is one of the last bastions of it's one of the last holdouts, right? And you're bringing culture to it. You're bringing cool to it, and you're going to try to bring that into other locations. With all of the things going on in the hobby, where do you see innovation for the LCS going forward? Whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, what kind of fun thing would you like to bring to the LCS if you had your way? Like you were in charge of what every LCS should have. Take it however way you like. But I mean, I love how we've had innovation in the last year and change, and I can't wait to to see what the future brings. I'd love to get kind of like a preview of it from you.
Every LCS should hire or ask an 18-year-old kid to come in and modernize them. Not their business, but for them to not be on social media when it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, the things that they're never going to do. Bring an 18-year-old kid to do it because every one of those is free. And so having content on social media is critical. They need to get their Google and SEO fixed so people can find them easier. They need to do all those basic things. Do they all need to do live breaking? No. Live breaking is very difficult. Do it 24 hours a day, and it's a monstrosity of an operation. It's very difficult. So should they all do live breaking? No. But should they have eBay? Should they be up dealing with the auction site? Should they be on StockX? Should they looking at Loop and whatnot and StarStock? Yes. Those accounts are free to have, and it helps them get more traction into their store and get their brand out there, which is critical. But the local car store will always have a place in people's hearts because if you want to bring your two kids over, you buying it on eBay real quick or StockX and it shows up in the mail does not have the same experience as you getting in the car, driving 40 minutes to the local card store, spending an hour with them, driving home, talking about it. That experience is never going to go away. The dad wants to do that with the two kids. The mom wants to do that and buy it as a gift for her brother, son, father, friend, etc. That part will never go away. But you got to make it easy. The local car store owners have to make it easy for them to be found on social media, on Google, etc. And they have to actually be welcoming when they show up. Too often, people show up at their store and they're frustrated, like they're bothering them, or the place is messy. Got to walk over stuff and it's dirty or dusty. Like that has to get fixed. It's not cool. It's not nostalgic. No, it's just not clean. You have to clean the place up. You got to modernize it. You got to help people find you. Commerce and more people coming in, more customers is only beneficial. There's nothing wrong with Gary Vee posting about. There's nothing wrong with moms bringing their kids in and asking questions. You got to answer their questions. You got to get out there.
I have an idea. If an LCS is listening and they don't want to get into live breaking, what they can do, in my opinion, and tell me if this would work, is create just like a small green screen area with a phone stand where if you buy a box, you could maybe, you want to rip it there, you could do it, and you could use their Instagram page that has 5,000, 10,000. And you could incentivize the kid or the person who bought it and wants to live break with a free gift or a free promo and say, hey, we have this setup, you could break right here. So they don't do any of the logistics, but they kind of cross promote. And there's room in those stores if you do clean them up. And if the owner gets up off that seat, they're always sitting in chairs. They're usually elderly and they're always sitting. I never understand why they're always sitting in those stores. Maybe that's just mine.
Yeah, so we have a coffee table up front with 6 chairs around it where people can break right in the window on Hollywood Boulevard. We go live with them. We'll give them extra packs and they'll just break for hours at a time for fun. Not on our channel, it's on their own channels. If they want to go on our channel, sometimes we do, but it's mostly just for fun for them to market it, and then they're marketing for us. So it's everybody wins in the scenario, and they feel cool when they're doing it. So it's fun.
Wrap with this. Do you have 2, 3, 4 minutes?
I have 6% battery life left. So
Oh, this is amazing.
Real quick, wrap
This
it up.
this is how we judge how long our episodes could be with Cage. It's just on his battery life.
I think mine's 7%, so I get you.
He's bought one of those memory pack or those battery packs, but still it hasn't arrived from Amazon. 250 days.
Yeah.
Real quick, take us home with this. Josh Luber, right?
Yep.
We have no idea who this guy is. He's an enigma, right? Like we don't know him. He's a mystery. He's exciting. He's cool, but a lot of people don't know. And then when it was announced that he would be the Fanatics CEO, some people were like, "This is the best thing ever." Some people were like, "This is the worst thing ever." Where are you at with that? This Fanatics deal, what's the future hold?
Unequivocally, the best thing that could happen to the card market and the card collector. The reason why is Josh has millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of cards and wax as a collector. So all the StockX, far before they had cards on there, he was a collector, and he is deep in the game from all levels and price points of cards. He is obsessed. So he has the collector at heart. He's already super rich. So the financial motives are not the same for someone that's had a company that's worth $4 billion that he built up with StockX, and it's going to be worth more than $4 billion. Now, when he resigned, he still made a huge amount. And when they go public next year, there's a humongous payday for him. So I'm just being really blunt. A lot of the financial motives that some people could have are not there when it comes to Josh. But the most important thing I will say for the collectors is having someone that's so integrated in the game for so many years. And you saw the white paper he wrote a week ago. It was like, 40, 50 pages. Like, he just cares about the market so much that he will have a lot of our best interests at heart. Is he still going to be the head of a big corporation that's a gazillion-dollar company? Yes. So there are elements that he has to play by. But for the most part, I will say, I've spent a lot of time with him on the phone and in person, and he truly cares, which is the most important thing. They could have gone and brought in the ex-president of Nike to just come in and be the corporate CEO. They didn't. Yeah. They brought a true card collector in.
Guys, Men Collective in Vegas.
He's going to be there too, right? Josh Luber's going to be there, so we'll get to hear from him. The enigma will be revealed.
Dan, you're going to be there too, right? Yeah. Guys, don't miss it. It's going to be fun. It's the winter in basically half the country, so just fly out. Hotel rooms are cheap. Cage will probably be giving away slabs. I know I'll be giving away stuff. It's going to be a blast.
Cigars. We'll have some fun.
I'll bring some Cubans. I'm coming from Mexico. I'll bring some Cubans. Dan, I appreciate you. I want to give a shout out to Mo and Dan Lenhart. You know, I've gotten to know them a little bit behind the scenes over the last year, and you know, they're just great people, man. They're great people to interact with. They're selfless. They're kind. They're willing to do stuff and get stuff done and give more than they ask for. So I love what you're building. We're happy to support, and we appreciate your time for hopping onto the Collectible Innovators series here.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you guys soon.
Peace.
Thanks, Dan.